Hey everyone, happy Fibro Friday. I hope you're doing great. I hope your week was smooth and calm and restorative. And I hope everything is going well with you. If you are new, welcome. And if not, welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about something that is a given if you suffer from chronic illness. This is something that you have to get really good with. And it's not something that they tend to teach when you learn more about your condition. You tend to have to learn this on your own in your own way, and that is boundaries. If you want to know the basics of boundaries, there is an excellent book about it written by Henry Cloud. I'll put it in the description box, of course. You can read it on your own time. I won't recap it for you. You can also look on YouTube. I'm sure there are tons of reviews on it because the book is not brand new, but it explains what boundaries are. And what I experienced recently for the past maybe 6 months, I've had a very intense set of activities in my offline life, and it really took a toll on me to the point where I was in bed last week for a lot of the week, hence no videos last week. And I think I mentioned on Wednesday that I'd be talking about that a little bit today, and that is what's happening. I had so much activity, and it was taking a high level of mental and physical energy sometimes, but definitely mental and emotional energy. And because of that, I was depleted. I just basically I hit a wall. I couldn't go any further. I had a relative who was expecting a particular deliverable from me, and the relative asked about it. This was not on any kind of time frame, so it's not like there was a deadline. The relative wanted it sooner rather than later, though the relative could complete this deliverable on their own. The relative asked for me to do it. I said, sure. And I was in no place to do it last week when the relative wanted it. And I had to have the hard conversation of why this deliverable was not provided. First and foremost, I'm not being compensated for it. That's a big thing for me. But more importantly, I if I was being compensated for it, I would probably have returned the money in favor of getting the rest because honestly, I needed the rest more than anything. I had to take a lot of time off from work. I had to spend a lot of time in bed and just really focus on self care. I barely did any writing, definitely didn't do any filming last week, and it was just very intense. And the relative understood, of course, but I wanted to bring up that story to tell you if you are dealing with a chronic illness, particularly one that has a lot of pain associated with it, but any chronic illness, you may not even be suffering from a chronic illness. Maybe you are supporting someone with a chronic illness, or maybe you're just having a really intense period of your life. Boundaries will save you. Being able to say no, knowing the right time to say no is really important. Consider that part of your self care. Saying no to anything that puts you into the area of being completely depleted. um, it's okay to use all of your energy for something, especially if you're excited about the something that you're using your energy for. It's fine. I've certainly done that before. I've had days where I've stayed up nearly 48 hours because I was so excited about something I was working on. And trust and believe me, I collapsed after I was up that long. For me, being up more than 20 hours is really pushing it nowadays. But when I was younger, this was something that could go on for almost 2 days. And if I was excited about it, yes, I'd be spent, but I'd go somewhere, I'd sleep, and I'd be fine. And, that's okay. But when you are someone managing chronic illness or when you are managing an extraordinary amount of stress, it's dangerous to get to that area because you may find yourself in a flare or in um, basically like a paralyzed state. I hate to say paralyzed, but definitely in a state where you are not even useful to yourself, basically incapacitated. You don't want to put yourself to that condition. So having boundaries is really important. One of my dear friends has said many times, good fences make for good neighbors. I will paraphrase that and twist it around a little bit and tell you, good, did I say good fences? it's late and fibro fall. But yes, good fences make for good neighbors. Um, if I could rephrase that, I would say good fences make for healthier people. It makes for healthier people for sure. So, your good fence is your ability to say no to anything that overwhelms or depletes you. And the no may not be a permanent no, it may be a no for today that can change into a yes later. The deliverable that my relative wants, it's a yes for later. It's just not a yes today. It wasn't a yes last week. It's going to be a yes, but not right now, and being able to say that is really important. Having friends and family that understand that is very important. Having an employer that understands it is a godsend, and there are employers out there who are like that. If you are employed, you know it can be hard for your job to understand that your no is a matter of self-preservation and self-care. They are not in the business of really investing in self-care at some employers. So it's really important to know how and when to say no, and to also, for some cases, clarify why it's no. Not because you need to do a ton of explaining with every situation, but because clarifying can prep that person or entity that you're working with to understand that you are not doing this out of a lack of interest. You are saying no in order to create the best quality result at another time, the correct time, the best time. So just remember that. Get really good at practicing your no's. Start with small ones. It certainly gets easier as the requests get bigger, um, especially if you've practiced on the smaller things. Get used to saying no and say it in a way that feels comfortable. You don't have to apologize for your no in many cases. I know many times we feel very apologetic. We feel like we're disappointing people when we're saying no. And sometimes we are, but it would be far more disappointing for them if they care about you. It's more disappointing for you to be in bed completely out of it because you've done too much. If the person or entity that you're working with cares about you, they don't want you to put yourself through that either. So you can say no with pleasantly if you want to, but you certainly don't have to explain or feel apologetic in many cases simply because you're trying to preserve your energy for the things you need it for, like showers and, other hygiene things. If you are in bed all day, you may not do the things that you normally do, eating well, that kind of thing. Those things are important and they are directly tied to your physical health. You can only attend to those when you have the energy, and overextending yourself will certainly deplete your energy, and you don't want that. So, that's it for today. Get good with your boundaries, practice saying no, take good care of yourself. If you feel that you are overwhelmed, outsource as much as you can, rope in friends and family that love to help you or that are willing to help you, even if they don't love it, if they're willing to without making you feel bad about it, rope them in and ask for support with this, because there are probably way more people who want to help you than you realize. And if you don't have a lot of people around to assist you with overwhelm, what a great reason to say no if you are truly on your own. Saying no is a completely appropriate thing, and you should start practicing that. So that's it for today. Please have an amazing weekend. If you have experiences with practicing your boundaries, especially if you suffer from chronic pain, but that doesn't have to be the only reason, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And yeah, that's it for today. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye bye.